No jury, no maximum sentence, and no justice. This is critical. In many states, plea deals can be legally negotiated, even finalized without the victim's knowledge or consent. This happened to me. I will explain why in this video. National statistics consistently show that impaired driving offenders have high rates of reoffending, making public safety a real concern when accountability is reduced. Hi, I am Sarah. I am not an attorney. I am a mother who lost her only son to a repeat drunk driver. I believe victims deserve respect. We deserve clarity and not legal fog. Before I talk about why maximum sentences rarely occur in DUI death cases, I need to explain two things: what a plea deal is and what victims are rarely told. A plea deal is an agreement between the prosecutor and the defendant in which the defendant pleads guilty to reduced charges or a reduced sentence in exchange for avoiding a jury trial. As I stated, during the time a plea deal is being negotiated, victims are often completely unaware. This is legal. Meanwhile, the criminal is involved, not the victim, the criminal, and knows exactly what is happening. The defense attorney is fully involved. The prosecutor is negotiating terms. Who plea deals favor every time. Every time plea deals avoid the full story being told. And that directly benefits the criminal, not the victim. When the full story isn't heard, a jury never sees the true severity of the crash. The balance of the impact is not understood. Patterns of risk and prior behavior carry less weight. The victim's life is reduced to a legal charge and case number instead of a human being. Without the full story, the criminal appears less dangerous. The harm appears less severe. A lighter sentence becomes easier to justify. Let's be honest about who benefits. The criminal benefits. Reduced exposure. No jury, no maximum sentence. The prosecutor benefits. Another case off the desk, guaranteed conviction. No public scrutiny. The defense attorney benefits. Their client avoids a jury, avoids public accountability, and yes, they can point to the outcome as a success. The only people left out, the victims. They negotiate comfort for the criminal and called the victim collateral damage. Yes, collateral damage. That is how I felt. I didn't learn about the plea deal until after it was already done. Although, through legitimate sources, I later learned that because of the sheer number of DUI fatalities moving through the system, many cases are resolved quickly. Not because the harm is small, but because the system is overwhelmed when a death is treated as a one-time offense. Sentences are often reduced and paired with restrictions instead of maximum incarceration. Yes, probation. I believe that if I had not stayed involved, if I had not questioned and pushed, the outcome would have been even lighter. That is not accountability. That is damage control. Again, the criminals have all the rights. The victims are left with life sentences. Why a jury trial would have benefited the victim, like my son. A jury trial would have mattered. Not for revenge, not for emotion, but because juries hear and see the full truth. A jury would have heard who Kenley really was. They would have heard that the vehicle was traveling 146 miles per hour and demolished Kenley's car as he slept at 2 a.m. in a state rest area. They would have heard the driver had a 2.0 blood alcohol concentration. they would have seen the horrific photographs showing what this did to Kenley and his dog, Marshall, who flew 500 feet to his death. I was not allowed to see Kenley after the crash, but a jury would have seen the evidence. Juries don't negotiate behind closed doors. They weigh public safety, risk, and accountability. That is why I believe the sentence would have been different. Why this matters now. Parole is coming up. Because the plea deal didn't just decide the sentence, it set the stage for parole. And the parole eligibility is coming in December 2026. I believe victims deserve to be heard, and I believe the public deserves protection. No jury, no maximum sentence. That is why this channel exists, because rights don't work if you don't know which door to knock on. And the system assumes you know things you were never told. If you are a victim or someone who cares about public safety, truth, and accountability, please subscribe. I am documenting step by step who victims need to contact, how to register, and how to ensure your voices are not erased. You cannot find this information anywhere except on several confusing websites that no one tells you about. If this happened to you, I invite you to share your experiences, find others in your state, learn. Knowledge is power. The justice system on TV is a myth. Join other mama bears. Silence protects offenders. Truth spoken out loud protects the public. Thank you. This is Sarah Raney, Mama Bear.